Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. We're really excited about some of the topics we're going to talk about. I have with me, as always, Helen Triplett. Good morning, Helen.
Good morning, everybody.
Helen runs our support and implementation team, and she's effervescent on the phone and so supportive. And I'm David Kingsbury. I run our customer success group, and then we have most of our team actually online as well. I'm not going to introduce them, but we always love to hear your comments because we're going to go over a case study, and we're going to provide some today. So we're very excited about that. So I'm going to keep everybody muted as we go forward, and I will unmute selected people on the line as we continue, okay? So let me go ahead and get started. And first of all, what we're going to talk about today, so a little bit about March Madness. I won't bring that up, but we actually did the pool here at DeepTarget, right, Helen?
That's right.
And most of us lost. So, but it was a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about our April release coming up next month, which is April.
Next week.
It's actually next week. That's right. And so we're very excited about that. Give you a sneak peek of that. Then we're going to go into the digital marketing industry trends. We're going to focus in on a couple components there. And then, yay, we've got Andrews Federal Credit Union. Ashley Baldeon has joined us this morning. She's going to walk us through a campaign that they did last year that I have to admit is probably one of my most favorites. If you have been on a webinar, that's kind of a hint as to what we're going to talk about. Okay, and then of course, what do we have?
Our ad winner of the month and our superstar of the month.
That's right. That's right. So we're really excited to show you a couple of great ads and a great performing member of our family. So we're really excited about that as well. So let's jump into the release that's coming up next month. And again, we're a couple of weeks away. We're scheduled for April 4th. It may move around a little bit. We're in the midst of testing right now, but it looks really well, really solid. So kudos to our development and our support testing team. And the first thing up is ADA support. So I know everybody's excited to have that. Helen, don't you get questions about that?
Yes, we do. That's a hot item.
It is.
Upcoming year, particularly.
So in our April user group webinar, we will go into detail on all of these components. The ones I have bolded are the ones we're just going to touch on today because there's some excitement around those. And the system will go live before our next user group webinar. So we want you guys to be aware of some things that will change and actually be really cool. And also, you will get release notes coming out roughly the same day that we also release the product, okay? We're going to talk about an automated scheduling capability. Helen's really excited to talk about that.
That's right. That's been our most requested function, new capability.
That's right.
We've had from multiple customers, so
exactly.
We're excited about that one.
Excellent. And HTML5 comes as well, so a lot of excitement around that with the added capabilities that it provides. I have examples of that. We aren't going to talk about campaign prioritization, but we've optimized that as well, and now there's 3 levels of automation around prioritizing your campaigns. So that'll be a big topic that we'll have next month as well. Your campaign category report has some improvements to it that we're excited to show you, and your monthly management report. So hats off to our team to continuing to add the historical details on that, okay? So let's take a look at one other thing that's going to happen when we go live in the next couple of weeks. You're going to actually see a informational ad, if you will, show up on your login page, and it's going to do some reminders, right, Helen?
That's right. It'll be things like remember to get your data extracts in, or hey, have you been sending out your leads to your to your
scheduled
department?
That's right. That's right. Have you signed up for a review meeting with the team and that sort of thing? So we'll have some messaging that shows up as well on the login page. So we're excited about that. And here's the first thing. So remember, as we've talked about over and over and over again over the past year or more, that marketing's job is to definitely create that level of interest, generate responsiveness, and then when you do, to hand those responses, those clicks, those leads off to lending. And so we've asked everyone to participate in this export button on the compare and categories display. And when you do, it downloads a list of your leads. So as Helen mentioned earlier, what, Helen?
Right now, you guys are having to generate that, it's not automated, it's manually, you're having to do that, and then you're having to pass that off. So you're having to go into the application and do that. But with this next release, you'll be able to schedule those, so you won't have to do that. So it can get to your lending department or whomever, daily or whatever schedule you want. So
we're really excited to announce that under the reports drop-down, you'll have a new selection called Schedule Report. And when you click on that, it will pop up. I've just abbreviated the screen, but it'll have a list of schedule reports, and you'll just click on this button that says Schedule a Report. So we intend to expand this to other reports as well, but the very first one will be actually the lead list for lending. So we pop this into the actual window here so that you can give it a name, and then actually I want it to go out to this recipient at this email address. And if you have multiple branches and you wanted to send this out to different branch lending officers, you can add additional recipients. Set the frequency here, weekly, daily, what have you. We prefer more frequently. I'll say again, time kills deals, so follow-up is important, and the time. And you can also encrypt that report to make sure that it's well secured, sending off to that lending officer, and then on their workstation they can do the decrypt to get access to the data, and then you just hit the schedule button. So we're really excited about that, and I know you guys are as well. So this takes a little work off of you, and it automates more of your functions. So that's one of the things that we always want to do, and it's a continual pursuit here at DeepTarget, is to add more automation into our system so that it runs magically and performs optimally without much intervention. That's right. Okay. All right. The next one, I'm excited about this. Why am I so excited about this, Helen?
Just because you're a graphic kind of guy.
Yeah, I am. That's right. And so I want you to visualize the dashboard and the bottom center scorecard that shows you the most viewed impressions in the last 7 days. And we actually order it left to right with the most viewed and then the next most viewed and so forth. So it dawned on us we needed to, we have a lot of great comments about that. It's very helpful. That it would help if it were in the compare category report as well. So in the release, instead of seeing this is an example.
Right now it's ordered alphabetically.
That's correct.
Through all your campaigns.
That's right, but you may have turned off certain campaigns and product codes, and you've kept them out there historically because you're going to turn them back on. But in my mind, it adds to clutter, and it takes me a second longer to figure out my best performing campaign category. So this is what you'll see going forward. So all of your campaigns will be stacked left to right by the largest number of impressions, and as you can see, this is actual data. The number of clicks tends to mimic the number of impressions, and this will allow you to understand more. And I've got a question: will the account number be truncated? So I'm not sure where that's related to. Are we talking about? Well, let's come back to that. We'll see if we can answer that at the end. We'll open up the mics here in a minute. Okay. Oh, on the reports. No, the counts won't be truncated. It'll be a secured, encrypted report. Okay, hope that answers your question. Okay, and then let's go to the final thing that we wanted to show this morning is the monthly management report improvements. This is what you see today when you download your monthly management report, and it's a 3-month look back from historically February, January, December, and it's in this reverse order. And the number of sales transactions here, 201, is reflected here in this table, outlining what were the actual transactions influenced by the DeepTarget channels. So we're going to add 2 more months to it. We're going to produce the KEI, the total KPI, the combined one per both channels, across both channels. And we're going to put your leads into a graph, and your report will look like this going forward. So more detail. Again, this will be your combined set of numbers for each month. Your months will be in this order from October, November, December, January, February.
Oldest to newest.
Thank you, Helen. And that's because we also want this 201 number to be related here to your sales transactions. And so you still see that same breakout, but now we can see actually our clicks, our responsive, our lead trends over that 5-month period. So that gives us an indication of our performance overall on responsiveness. Now it's not, I just want to iterate, clicks aren't the end-all be-all of everything related to marketing. We know impressions have a huge impact as well. And so we're looking at ways to augment basically more detail about how impressions have influenced sales transactions as well. Okay. So you guys, if you have any questions, hold those for a bit and we'll come back and review at the end of the webinar. Okay, so that's everything we wanted to cover about with the new release. We have a bunch of other things that are coming, and again, we'll go into detail on the April user group webinar and take a close look at your release notes when you get them as well. Okay, we're going to switch over to the industry insights. So there is a bunch of detail here, so try to stay focused on, and then we love your feedback on what we're going to talk about. Because, first of all, what we're trying to do in the industry, so this is a great report from FIS that came out mid-year last year, and it's called the FIS 2017 PACE report. And unfortunately, I can't think of what PACE stands for right now, but it's performance, analytics, so forth and so on, consumer engagement, perhaps. And this quote, which is really interesting here, and it's going to feed into our conversation, that nearly 72% of millennials expect a life event in the next 36 months. So we know that inherently, but to really think about it in our marketing and our targeting, it really needs to play into our planning. So in the next 36 months, at a minimum, millennials will face a related product need surrounding tuition, a wedding perhaps, a house purchase, an auto purchase, investments, even retirement planning. And you could probably add a few to this, but we know those life events are coming, but it's over a 36-month period. So let that settle in for a minute. One of our top pursuits is which one are they most interested in right now, and how can we help them acquire that, right? And so this report, this is an infographic. This is just one of 3 pages of the information that they list. And if anybody's interested, I can send the infographic to you. But what's interesting here is millennials outnumber baby boomers, and they're actually gaining economic strength. But what it points out here is that the senior millennials, that's this blue line, actually their income is higher than baby boomers is today. So they have more spending, that's right, buying power, and you need to pay attention to that. That's the older. So here's younger millennials, older millennials, here's all of Gen X, and here's all of baby boomers. So that's really interesting information, and you augment that with these life events that are facing them. And then why can't we add in digital marketing capabilities, which will describe in a moment, to make a difference. So our insight from this is engage your millennials. They have the most opportunities for sales, for you helping them. But each generation also has life events that can be focused on. And picking those, and that's what I'm excited to, the case study is going to show you that here in just a moment. And I'm sure all of you guys have your own examples as well. So we look forward to hearing about those too. Okay, so let's keep going. So here's the article in more detail. And as many of you know that have joined our webinar in the past, we focused in January on smashing these silos. And that's marketing working with IT because you need better, more refined data to help with your marketing efforts. Omni-channel measurement, what is that ROI, and that's something that we continually work on, developing better measurement tools, analytics. And then in February, we focused on micro moments. That's engaging online those members, because all of those millennials, Helen, what's the number one way they want to communicate with their financial institution?
They want to do everything via phone.
That's right. It's all mobile.
That's right.
And then what is the rising, the most, I'll say the highest level of engagement that's occurring out online?
It's going to be through YouTube.
That's right, through videos.
Videos.
So we talked about that. So now, logically, and it makes perfect sense for us to talk in this order, that predictive analytics and machine learning is the next step. So how can we at DeepTarget help you guys automate the system to help you engage across with better data, produce measurement tools for better ROI, allow you to build your micro moments, and possibly using video, and the system automate that in many ways behind you. So we're going to talk about that. And so if you read this article, it goes into a little bit of detail about what is predictive analytics and machine learning. And it boils down to marketers with predictive analytics can identify those prospects that are most likely to convert to customers, or those that are most likely to respond to a specific offer. So that is the idea. Remember, all these, Helen and I look at you, all these life events are facing each generation, but which ones are they most likely to respond to now, and then how do you follow up with that? Okay. And then second, marketing automation software is coming to the forefront. I know we've spoken to a lot of you guys. You're actually building out your website to be fully capable with marketing automation software. That means continually scoring interest or leads and probability that the lead will be, that customer will become a valuable customer. It's also determining that probability based on level of interest in your products and services. Here we go, what buying stage they're in. So there's no doubt in my mind that a millennial, a high percentage, are going to buy a car. If they don't already have it, they're going to buy another one, that kind of thing. But at what point are they? So what is the buying stage? They're just kind of interested now, they're looking for later this year. If you can determine that within the software and let the software and their responsiveness help identify that, then it's better for them because you're not annoying them. It's better for you because you're not wasting your time and that sort of thing. Okay. So where are we going with this? So we know, again, that we have to figure out what are the triggers that help us generate relevant interest in our customers and members. How do we know if they're really interested right now? There's a lot of things about that. So on your website, there are the abilities to monitor where your members or customers move about your website, and even how long they stay on a web page. That can depict it. Same with social sites. So same thing there. But what about online banking channels that we are resident in? So DeepTarget, we're coming to the game on that. And I know you know in our reporting, we capture impressions or views and clicks. How are we using those to help determine if there is a relevant, or an interest in this offer right now that you're putting in front of them? Okay, so that's why we're getting into some detail here. So when you guys, I'm preaching to the choir, right, Helen?
That's right.
So Helen and I live campaigns, and our whole team targeting campaigns. So you start with perhaps a targeted campaign based on an assumption of need, that life event coming, and you launch that campaign, and your reach is, let's say, 20,000 people, and from that you get perhaps 200 clicks, and from that 25 of those applications got started, and then 20 or so, 5 to 20 perhaps opened an account, or some lost interest. So during this whole process of moving your prospects through a funnel, what we want to try to do is speed up discovery when there really is no interest at this time. So don't waste any ad space, so they don't have to see an ad that they're really not interested in, and don't waste their time, if that ad shows up, give them more relevant ads. Okay, so how might we do that? So in the science of art and art of digital marketing, this is the area that we're spending a lot of our time. It's the third one. We've got targeting capable now. We have frequency of views and impressions being collected, and now the urgency of follow-up. How do we respond to the activity? So there are two components: retargeting. If you've hooked them, they may kind of float out there, but now let's reel them in. Or detarget, let's let them go for a period of time. Okay. So, and again, I'll just say, we see this all in a generational bucketing. That's not necessarily always the case, because interest in buying a car will cross generation. We just know that your members or customers respond more if they see images of people that look like them or activities. We do know that some of our customers prefer not to show people in the imagery. They prefer to show animation or what have you, but do it in the form that they're accustomed. Like, you wouldn't show, here's a good example, you wouldn't show a note written in cursive to millennials, would you?
Well, no.
No.
Since they don't even teach cursive writing in school.
That's right. And vice versa. Well, so that's just an example. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what detargeting actually means. So what we're saying, and I've highlighted 3 variables here. What we're saying is that when you launch a campaign, what you want to do, you want to have a system to do, is watch that campaign and the responsiveness or non-responsiveness of a customer member during that period, and we're going to say 30 days, and we're going to set a level of impressions at 7. So we're going to follow this particular campaign. It's going to be showed to a particular member or customer for a period of time. If they reach the number of 7 impressions and there is no click, we're going to detarget them, because we've determined that at that point they have the message, they haven't reacted to it, and so we're going to literally turn that campaign off for a period of time as well. Okay, so that's the simple notion of detargeting. Detargeting, sorry, I keep saying it's subliminal. And so this is that process, and we are testing internally, and these are the 3 variables we're considering allowing you guys to set, and we think it would be very powerful for overall engagement of your customers. Right, Helen?
That's right.
Okay.
And this also correlates with when you send in your data. You know, some of you send in your data monthly, some of you send in your data daily. So you could think about varying those frequencies based on how often you send in your information.
Very good. That's a good point. And you guys that send in every day don't have to worry about it at all as well. Okay. So that's detargeting. Pretty simply explained. But now let's talk about retargeting. So it's a little more complicated here, but the same variables exist. And what this says is, I'm going to launch a campaign, and I'm going to turn on my first ad, and for 30 days I'm going to watch, and during that time I've set this level of 7 impressions is when I'm looking for a response, or detargeting will kick in. But in this case, let's say on the 6th view, they clicked. So a decision point begins at that point. If in fact they clicked and an application started or an account opened, then we're going to turn that ad off. But if they clicked and after a short period of time, no application was filled out, no activity occurred inside of the system related to this offer and this member or customer, and what we do is we actually turn on ad number 2. And that ad number 2 jumps into a little more detail on the offer and becomes a little more personal for this member. And so the same process, we let it run for 7 days, and inside of that 7 days, if there's 7 impressions but no click, then we're going to detarget. But if they do click and no application is filled out again for a period of time or no other activity, then we're going to try one more time and I say a sweeter offer, maybe one more engagement, saying, now's the time to go. Now we've got a free gift waiting for you at the office. Helen, our super sweet lending officer, is standing by to assist you, that sort of thing. So, and then after a period of time of no clicks or interest, we detarget and off we go. Okay. So Helen, does that explain pretty clearly?
That's pretty straightforward. You know, you've got opportunities to get more detailed type campaigns out to your members. And
we think they'll be happier that way because you will turn these ads back on at a later time because we know that life event is still in their future, in the future time frame, but we don't waste their time by continually showing them the same thing. Okay, so great. That's what we're working on. So excellent. I've got a comment coming in that sounds like great stuff. So we've reviewed this with quite a few of our customers today, and everybody has been very positive with it. So later this year, we're going to be excited to do this. So my message to you guys is we are investing heavily in predictive analytics, machine learning, which is a big component of our artificial intelligence. But it does two things. It makes the engagement with your customers and members better, and it makes the automation and therefore the optimization of your engagement through DeepTarget better as well. So we're really excited about what's coming here for us as well. I can't say enough about digital personalization, and again, that really revolves around those life events. Happy birthday, these are actual ads from some of our customers, and here's our ad winner from last month. So great work out to everybody. And so always consider those life events that are relevant to that demographic. And again, I'm excited to talk about that in just a minute. Remember, targeting generations, because all generations have great opportunities for you. And with that, what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce Ashley Baldeon. Ashley, we're so excited. I'm going to unmute you. Ashley, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, David. Thank you.
Excellent. So Ashley, we, especially me, have been really excited about one campaign they ran last year that touched the hearts of one of the generations. And if you know me and you've been on a webinar, you know what I'm talking about. It's a campaign. So Ashley, I'll let you frame it if you don't mind. Why did you launch this campaign last summer?
Well, last year I started at Andrews Federal Credit Union. I moved from another credit union to here and was revamping all the DeepTarget campaigns and had targeted most of the generations across auto, credit card, mortgage, home equity, the main product groups. But for the older folks, the 72 years and older, I didn't feel it was appropriate to try and sell them a credit card or a mortgage or an auto loan. It wasn't what they really needed at this time in their lives. So that's why I focused on the generational approach to telling them about how they can help their children going forward through investment services, because that's one thing that they probably do worry about and consider. And so that's why I drafted this one campaign for this group, and that was the only campaign that they saw over a 6-month period.
And I'm going to show, so what, and Ashley, this may not be exactly correct, but you targeted for your investments, all types of investments for traditionalists age greater than and or equal to 72. And this was your 2 ads you deployed, correct?
Correct.
So I don't know where you came up with the promotional offer for his generation and yours. We can help, ask us how, but it immediately entices me in 2 respects. The picture looks like a family outing, and the grandson is hugging grandpa, which is always just a great feel-good kind of thing. And then you address something that really is top of mind for the traditionalist generation. how can I help my grandson, in fact, to ensure that somehow my wealth, not only my experiences, but my wealth can be something that, well, Helen, you said it.
I use the word legacy.
Exactly. You
Right.
you provide legacy to your younger generation, and so it really does pull on the heartstrings of this individual, and just a great campaign. So the results look like this over the course of between May and the end of September. 2,752 unique traditionalists saw this ad, and 152 clicked on that ad. And then if you look at the two channels, okay, so it doesn't surprise me that there's not that many mobile users, age 72 or older. But what does surprise me is the number of related interest or clicks in that ad. It's just amazing. I mean, both statistics are amazing. 73 out of 2,200, 79 out of 470 is outrageous results. So that's great. And then consistently over time, there was great interest as well. And you can see there's actually, of those 2,752 members that saw this ad, they saw it a frequency, significant frequency, right? So they saw it many times, and this is part of the studies that we're going into, is how many impressions did it take to drive a click or determine uninterest and that sort of thing. So that's great. And then here are the accounts opened. Now this is related to investment types. 175 accounts were opened in the investment grouping over time. And make note that the campaign actually ended at the end of September, but there were residual account opens that happened because they had the members had continued to think about it and so forth. And so by our statistic, basically 1 in 18 members clicked on this, and then you actually had a close rate of, out of the total number of impressions, 175 closures out of 2,752 people is 6% of your people that saw more than one or more of these ads ended in a closure, and that's amazing. So really amazing testimony to what you've done with this ad. So I know there's a lot of people that are excited about these kind of results, and we don't have a lot of customers that really target the traditionalist generation. And this is a perfect life event that is so relevant to this generation. So let me just show you this at the end. So what did we learn from this? So these are my bullets. Ashley, what did you learn from this campaign that you'd like to share?
This is a group that should not be ignored and should be
Right.
treated respectfully and part of your overall strategy. I mean, they're willing to engage with you, and they're your most loyal customers, and they should be engaged with. So overall, I was really pleased with the campaign.
Exactly. And so, as Ashley said, all generations have life events, even traditionalists. Periodic campaigns pulling on that life event heartstrings are going to drive responses. I mean, this is, that we talked about the art and science. So sure, the science says, hit these groups older, but the art has to be really relevant to them. It has to touch their hearts, and I think that's what Ashley's done with this image and the wording. I can't tell you how, if she had said simply, "Hey, we got great CDs for you, help your family," I don't think it would have gone over near as much. So authenticity matters, personalization. I mean, it was you could see how it was directed, and then we always throw in there follow-up matters. So reaching out to them, and I know Ashley and her team are focusing on that as well. So Ashley, thank you so much. What a great,
Thank you, David.
Great case study, and I'll just let everybody know we here at DeepTarget, we're submitting this campaign as for an award at the MAC conference, which is the Marketing Association of Credit Unions, which is a large event that's held every year in San Diego, and we'll be submitting this as part of that. So again, great job, Ashley. So thank you so much for that. So I'm going to mute you just in case you need to talk on, and we'll keep going. Okay? Excellent. So we are to the most exciting part of the day, and I want to talk about that. So we have our ad of the month, and what I want to say is that we haven't shared who actually won this. Normally we tell everybody on the line who wins these our awards so that they're not surprised, but we wanted to surprise this one in particular individual whose name is Jessica Guizala, the winner of I'm telling you, the Ad of the Month award. Why did Jessica win this? So let me show you this combination of ads. So it's for 2 ads, and the reason I bring it up was it falls right into that retargeting aspect that we talked about earlier. Although Jessica didn't implement it that way, it had all of the indications of it. And what we do is we love this, right, Helen? I mean, the whole team, we looked and laughed at it, not in a bad way, but because Jessica's suggesting that in 2018 your goals are contact United Financial, transfer loans, get my gift card, leave debt behind, and then learn more. And so great responsiveness here from the impressions. And then a second ad that was released just a little bit later was more detail on that balance transfer loan. So showing the number out there has generated phenomenal results as well. So just in February, 10,000 impressions, 91 clicks, 46 consumer loans opened. Awesome. Can I have another round of applause for Jessica? What a great set of ads.
It was a great graphic.
That's exactly right. Okay. So, and I had more detail. So you guys will be able to see this in the presentation when I send it back out. But here's all those specific details for Jessica and her work. So now let's go to the Digital Superstar of the Month. And before I do, I'm actually going to unmute one person on the line just so we can hear a word or two from her as well. And it's also Jessica Guizala. Is that right? Look at these numbers. Way to go, Jessica. So Jessica had two channels, online banking and mobile, 16 campaigns running in each of those. You can see the unique numbers, but look at the number of clicks in the online banking side and 42 in the mobile, for a combined number of 229 leads in the month of February, 63 overall accounts closed. Absolutely phenomenal. So one more round of applause for Jessica. So Jessica, I've unmuted you on the phone. Any words to say?
Well, thank you, first of all. And yeah, we have actually had some great results with our balance transfer promotion this year. We've kind of run something every year, but we really got staff excited, and I think the rate was awesome. And obviously, I think they liked the graphics, and it really drew some interest this year. So yeah, we've had great results for it.
Exactly, and it had a big impact on the consumer loans you've opened up, and that's fantastic. We're so excited for your results, and I'm just going to point out also with this slide that also Jessica uses the same graphic, same look and feel on the website as well as on social media. And that has, as we've discussed in the past, make sure that you have that similar message across all your digital channels, which will really engage your customers and your members. So Jessica, one more time, big round of applause for this great work. We'll get 2 plaques out to you.
One thing I want to mention about this graphic too is it's given the member instructions on what they need to do next.
That's right.
So that was good.
Exactly. And are you saying millennials need
Everybody needs instructions.
I see them. Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah, we try to make. So we give them the instructions. You know, maybe it helps.
That's right. Okay, great. So let me go back. I've got one more slide I want to show you guys, and I just want to thank everybody. This is our customer peer report, and for the month of February, I'm just going to make a couple of statements. So as you know, on your dashboard, the KEI, that you'll see the performance indicator there that we call the key engagement indicator. If you have between 1 and 50 members or customers that click, that you get a response, then you're outstanding. 51 to 100 is excellent, and so forth. 53% of our customers, in fact, 89% of our customers score in the outstanding and excellent phase. We are up 2 million impressions already in for the month of February, 1.28 million unique users, 33,000 unique clicks, 5,500 unique, sales transactions with 3,500 total campaigns. So we can tell you where you rank overall in our peer analysis, and please reach out for a review meeting so that we can have a one-on-one with you if you'd like to hear more about best practices and how you might optimize utilizing DeepTarget. Right, Helen?
That's right.
So we're excited to help at all times. So with all of that, thank you so much for all of your great work. And
do we want any questions?
Oh yeah. So so if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to hang on the line. If not, we'll let you go back to work. But I'm going to mute everybody. Oh, this is going to be a test. Let's see what happens. Okay. So nobody's playing music. That's great. Are there any questions on the line?
It might be the first and last. I just want to let you see that I do.
What name are you so dressed up for?
I had to go picture made today. You know, I can.
Okay.
Take a shower.
All right. So I don't think so many questions. Great. So I think we answered them on the through the chat box. So thanks everybody. Have a great rest of March, and may your team win. All right. Thanks again. Thanks, Helen, for being. Okay.